Welcome to the first edition of One Mic All Sports, and I would like to welcome. I'm pleased to welcome my mystery special guest, Joe Broll. What's going on, man?
What's up, Zach? How you doing?
So, Joe, everyone who's clicked on this video has seen that there is an announcement. Could you tell the viewers what this announcement might be?
This announcement is basically after Zach posted that his new name. I hit up Zach. We went to high school together. I'm like, Zach, I'm working. I have extra time on my hands. I asked him if I could be a part of his show, and thank you for saying yes, and I'm glad to be on here with you.
Yeah, so as you guys know, like he said, I changed the name not recently. I'm trying to grow my brand now that I've transitioned to high school to college. And with him messaging me, and it just made a lot of sense. I feel like it's a lot better when you see these people that are able to go back and forth with each other. It keeps the conversation going. So now it will just be a quick modification of the names. We'll keep the mic thing, but it will just be now two mics, all sports with Zach, JB, and Joe Broll. And we are hoping for our first upload to be our 2025-2026 NFL predictions with the season looming. We don't know what that will be yet, but that is in the works. So, but let's just start off with the bat with it. So, Joe, with the baseball season reaching the home stretch of the season and the road to the postseason upon us, one, how do you think things will finish for these playoff teams right now that are eyeing for positions? And second, how are you feeling about the Phillies down the stretch, especially on being on the verge of being swept tonight as they just kicked off their game against the New York Mets?
Well, I think Milwaukee's going to run away with the one seed. They caught fire at a great time. They're going to have that break. Hopefully, they don't go what other teams have been doing with the first round bye and losing directly after. But the Phillies, on the other hand, losing Zach Wheeler and their other pitching staff not doing too well, it's going to be pretty hard to face good teams like the Dodgers, the Padres, up in September and October when you got to have it when the time comes. So it's going to be pretty difficult. And the Mets series tonight, it's a must-win game because it proves tonight if you guys are fraudulent or if it was just a couple of rough spots, the games between the Nationals and the Mets going back at it. So they have a lot to prove tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, at this point, I've been very up and down with the Phillies. I really wasn't confident with this team going into the regular season already because this is my philosophy on things. You cannot bring back a baseball squad that struggled down the stretch the way they did in 2024 and got absolutely dismantled by a Mets team that reminded me so much of what the Phillies were a couple years ago, and they decided to run it back, and the additions they made were terrible at this point. The two main additions that they brought in, one is Max Kepler, which the fans have been arguing about him all year. He's been terrible. I don't even think he's gotten close to a 250 average this year. And then obviously the man, the myth, the legend, Jordan Romano. Obviously with his middle finger inflation, honestly, they should be giving the fans the fans should have all those injuries, not him, because of what we've had to deal with all throughout this season.
Yeah,
But
you're not kidding. That middle finger injury, I think a lot of Philly fans have that every time they see him step on the mound because it's terrible. It's almost a guaranteed run for the other team whenever he steps on the mound. And I've been a Kepler hater in the beginning months. He hasn't been swinging a hot bat, but recently he's been on a little tear, getting almost a hit a game, which is crucial because the front four of the lineup, Harper, Schwarber, Turner, and Boom and Real Muto, haven't really been doing their jobs as of late. So the bottom of the lineup, Bader, which we got at the trade deadline, which I think was a great move in center field addition, but him, Kepler, Stott, and even some of our bench players like Marchand and Wilson have been coming up clutch in these moments that our all-stars should be coming clutch in.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Everything I needed to learn about this Phillies team happened last night when Johan Duran came into the game. He's been absolutely dominant, except for one case with the Nationals blown save, and I don't even discard that because he's human. He was gonna blow something eventually, and it ended up happening at that point. It's not the biggest deal, but at the same time, he couldn't get an out last night. we have not seen him look that out of sorts, and I think it's an entire team morale thing because Christopher Sanchez the night before, he almost looked like he was about to break down and cry because after that balk, he just seemed like he completely lost control. It feels like whenever this team, even if this is your first year with the Phillies, or like Duran's example, you got traded here halfway through the season, if you're wearing that Phillies red, it seems like you just have an automatic curse set on you. And it's so frustrating to watch because I feel like last night's game was very much more winnable because you got production out of these guys that you really don't expect all the time. Like Harrison Bader, him hitting that absolute moonshot against Ryan Hesley last night, who also, he's been terrible for the Mets, and they had the opportunity to pounce more runs on him, and they didn't. Like Bader, like if it wasn't for Bader, he probably would have got out of a scoreless inning, but Bader obviously hit that home run. But at the same time, he's a late hitter. He's a 7, 8 hole 9 hitter. It's these guys that are at the top of the lineup. And I keep emphasizing this over and over and over again. Whenever I'm watching the Phillies and I see Trey Turner get a ground out, strike out, anything, I say one word: $300 million. You're $300 million man, leading off. He's been leading off most of his career. He's known for leading off. Can't produce for you at a consistent basis. So I feel like this team has too many questions. They're pitching. If Sanchez doesn't have his stuff, they are screwed. It's that plain simple. Sanchez is the pitcher of this rotation. Now that Wheeler's down, he has to be the guy. I believe he can be the guy, but if he's not being consistent on a consistent basis, and you obviously know Suarez, he's great, but he always has a second half slump. He always can be inconsistent. And Jesus Luzardo, in my honest opinion, has been the most inconsistent pitcher in the entire MLB this year. He's either great and gets multiple strikeouts or he's tipping his pitches. So I feel like these issues that come up again and again are going to cause the Phillies downfall and an early exit in the playoffs as of right now, in my opinion.
Yes, I completely agree, especially with the Luzardo statement there, Zach. I remember at the beginning of the year, I'm like, great addition by Luzardo. It's a 1-year signing. Can't really go wrong with it. If he does great, you could re-sign him. If he does bad, then you let him go. But at the beginning of the season, he was on a tear. He took the Dodgers all healthy with Shohei and Freeman and Betts still all in the lineup in the early goings to the 7th inning, and he took him, shut him out, I'm pretty sure. And now he tipped his pitch. Well, he claimed he was tipping his pitches, claimed he couldn't figure out what was wrong, and then he goes on that 10th strikeout game against, if I'm not wrong, either, was it the Tigers, Zach? Or somebody that he pitched against, he threw 10 strikeouts, and it's like, which Luzardo are we going to get tonight? The one that's, like last night, the meltdown on the mound because of a couple bad calls. Like, umps aren't perfect, like you were saying, they're human. But even if you have couple bad calls, it is your responsibility. You are the big league player and the pitcher to get the job done. And now that you have, like I said earlier, Wheeler down, somebody in that pitching staff needs to step up. It's no time to be a baby and cry about it. You got to be a bigger man, and you got to step up in that leadership role. Either if it's Sanchez, Nola, Suarez, or Luzardo, and hell, even Taijuan Walker. They need to step up because it starts with the pitching. If you're home, you need to get them first 3 outs right away. You can't let that team get a run at CBP because we saw how that happened last year with the Mets. You collapse in the early going innings, and they pounce. Like, you can't give up runs early, and you can't get in your fields early in the game. You got to come back stronger, and you got to step up.
Exactly, and I totally agree. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the best series without a doubt. I don't care I don't care with the rest of the season how they play. The best series they'll have the entire season was the Seattle Mariners series, without a doubt. The way they were able to get the pitching and the hitting, they're not going to get anything better than that. But at the same time, I felt like everyone was trying to get back onto the hope train. I knew I wasn't because I knew I'm still not convinced in this team. But I say this time and time again. If they could get those those outings out of the 3 pitchers they did the way they did, that's scary. Like, sometimes you don't need a 5-star, 5-man rotation to win you a championship. If you have 3 great guys that you know what you're getting out of them every single night, that's all it takes sometimes. And the way they pitch against Seattle, that's the way they can be if they compete consistent. And Sanchez, he's the only guy I have trust in being consistent right now. I don't get me wrong, I know it was rough outing for him, but he's human at the end of the day, and it's going to happen. He's stepping into a big role. Going into the season, he's like, I know I'm the second pitcher behind Wheeler. I'm going to try to improve myself and be that guy right behind him so they know you got 2 knockout pitchers back to back. But then he's had to step into a bigger role, and he's still growing as a pitcher. He evolved a lot this season. Like he grew up a lot. Like the way he's throwing fastballs, and like he threw a I think a slider was one of those pitchers at 104 miles per hour against the Mets the other night. To do that as a pitcher, and especially a pitch that has a downward trajectory, is just insane. And I think wholeheartedly he has I'm going to just keep saying this over again, has the ability. It's just the big thing for me right now is he just doesn't have the offense to support him. That game against the Mets, they could have jumped up 8-0 against Kodai Senga in realistically. They had so many opportunities to pounce, but they just this is the Phillies way for years now, leaving runners on base. You always see at the end of the game, opportunities with runners in scoring position. It's always like
heavily favored toward the Phillies.
Exactly, like 2 of 8, 2 of 10, like it's been the same thing over and over again. And the one thing I want to talk about with this team that they don't have is they don't care for each other. They could care less about each other. Nick Castellanos, when have we seen in the past few years that he's been here, he's not played as much as he has? This is the most games he's not played as a Philly in his tenure here. And I think there's something with him and Rob Thompson. At the same time, though, we really don't know because Rob don't show much, but it is very interesting how this has happened. So what are your honest opinions on like the camaraderie of this team, and like how do you think their chemistry is right now?
Yeah, team morale. Like I feel like it was high coming off of that Mariners series. You go in, you're winning, you're scoring runs, everything's clicking. Like I said earlier, Wheeler goes out. You're not gonna be happy. Like you guys know that was your ace. You were gonna ride him to the playoffs, get that bye. Everybody gets healthier. Everybody's in a good mood. Now he's out. You guys gotta start winning games, but you're not. That's all gonna start going towards your morale. So it's tough. And then especially like these past 2 games in New York and the games against Washington, if you can't win against like inter-division rivals like them, it's gonna hurt. Like it's not gonna be like, oh well, we just lost to the Kansas City Royals, who don't really have much of an effect on us. But you guys went to Citi Field the past 2 nights and you got your ass whooped. You blow that 3-0 lead on Monday night, and then last night you guys come back, and then the pitching staff once again lets you down in the later innings. Like Bader, he started off slow once he came here in Philly, but he's starting to pick it up. He hits that double earlier in the innings, and he hits that 2-run shot against his former team. Everybody's feeling hype, like, let's go get this win, let's prove we're not frauds. Then you do that. It's like, oh, well, why are we trying to ride this morale that we obviously don't have? And then the thing with Castellanos, like you were saying, this is the least amount of games he's played. Last year he played all 162. You saw how he was with the whole Scooby-Doo comment in the All-Star game last year. Like, it looks like they're being too serious. If I'm going to keep it up with you, it doesn't look like they're having fun. It looks like they're there for business, and that's it. It is a game. You are playing a child's game, don't get me wrong. This is your job, this is your profession, you're getting paid $300 million. Yes, you want to be serious when the serious times come down to it, but at the end of the day, you got to remember, it's a game. You want your mental state to be good in order to play good. Like Harper, Schwarber, Turner, you guys are the faces of this team. If I look in that dugout and I see Harper from across the field with his pouty face, or Schwarber after striking out getting mad, I'm not going to feel good as a teammate. I'm going to be like, wow, our leaders are down. I don't really know what to do. Like, these are the guys that we're supposed to be looking up to, and I got to vibe off that? No. Like, who am I to be, oh, yeah, guys, it's all right, when our leader's sitting down like, oh, damn, we just lost to the Mets at Citi Field again. The Mets just proved us wrong again. We might be frauds again. You got to get all that negative energy out. If you want to win games, you got to have the good morale. Your manager has to step up for you. Luzardo last night was fiery at the Thompson didn't step in. Then Realmuto gets that bullshit ball call on him, and you don't step up for him or complain a little bit. I would just like to see Rob stick up for his players a little bit more, and I would love to see our leaders, even if you're performing bad, you own up to it. Hey, we haven't been performing good. I know we are better than this. We're not frauds, and just tell the media straight up. This has been a terrible stretch. We want to be better. We are going to be better. And right from there, that's motivation. You can ride that. Then your whole staff is feeling good, and you should be able to win more games. But again, it's all up to them first three people: Turner, Schwarber, Harper. If they're down, the team's down.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. This is everyone I've been talking to. I've been harping at the same thing. And especially you bring up Harper. I gotta get something off my chest with him right now. Why the actual fuck are you wearing New York Mets gear? Because you're trying to promote your new shoe. Who gives two fucks? Be completely honest. Who gives two actual fucks? You're the face of this team. You're the $330 million man. You're the guy that hit the home run to send us to the World Series. You're the face of this team, and you're wearing freaking New York Mets gear to promote your new shoe. Bullshit, bro. He needs to be. And he doesn't even look like he cares in interviews. Like when they're interviewing him, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently someone asked him a question and his answer back to it is like, I care more about my fantasy football draft order. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I just thought I would put it out there because if that is, that just adds more to what I'm saying. And Schwarber, he's probably being the best leader he can right now because he's also struggling, and I know it's tough for a guy like him because he's very home run reliant, and this has been a surprising year for him. This has been an outlier because usually he's been a guy with a home runs and a 190 average. He's hitting sub 250, sub 240. He's getting on base with singles, doubles, walks, and then obviously his home runs. But I know he's trying to be the best leader, but like you said, it's also tough trying to be a leader when you're not doing well yourself but at the same time, there's other guys in there that could step up and they just don't want to. And I told you this. I've harped on this again and again. Alec Bohm, you are a baby. They might as well put a fucking diaper on this dude, bro, because he doesn't stop whining. They said it on the broadcast. That light has been there since 2017, and you want to say something about it because you can't hit the ball? You can't hit the ball, accept it. You can't play defense, accept it. We wanted to trade you and we couldn't because no one wanted your trash ass. It's that simple. And he just cries and cries and cries. He's another one, my mom even tells me, Sosa should be playing. I'm like, yeah, Sosa should be playing for Bohm every day because at least he's going to go out there and give 100% and actually try to better defense than what Bohm's putting out there. So that's just my opinion. Go ahead. If you want to say anything to that, go ahead.
Nah, I completely agree with you. I mean, this whole thing, like you said, the leadership spots are open. Nothing's set in stone. Your $330 million players aren't stepping up, so you got to be that guy in the clubhouse that pulls everybody together and be like, hey, the season's coming to a close, and I'm not gonna fucking lose again. I want to win. I want to bring a championship to Philly. Look at the Eagles. They held each other accountable. They saw the collapse in this 23-24 season, and now they're like, all right, 24-25 season, we're going to come back. They started out with that 2-2 record, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl after that. They locked in as a team. They went together. The leader stepped up. They went, guys, there's a problem. We need to fix it. They fixed it, and you saw what happened. A Super Bowl and a championship back to Philly. Now, the Phillies got to do the same thing. You're nearing the end, you're running out of time. It is now or see you in a couple years. Hopefully we're making the playoffs. Because I'm sorry, it's now, we were saying this for the last 2 years, now or never. You lose Schwarber this year at the end of this season. You may lose Romita. You're not going to be able to re-sign everybody. So if you guys want to win, it is a win-now deficit. This is the team that's going to get you there. You have the tools and you have everything that you can. You can't cry about it. You can't do anything. You gotta step up.
I couldn't agree more. Like I said, like you just said, we've been harping at it for years. They've been able to keep these players along, and obviously with the big acquisition of Trey Turner in 2023, in my honest opinion, this team was on top of the world. They exceeded expectations by far in 2022, 2 wins away from the World Series. I just don't think that team was ready, but they just seem like ever since that point to be in a downward spiral. Like 2023, they went with the same strategy. They sucked, and then they just became on hot. But they faced an Arizona team they were not ready for. They completely underestimated them. They went up 2-0. They're like, yeah, this series is over. But they played a team that they were the season before. They got hot at the right time. And if you think about it, that World Series, no credit to Texas, they were a great team. Let's be honest. Those two teams in the World Series were teams that got hot at the right time. They were both in the wild card. They both just got in there, and they both have now flamed out since trading players. So, ever since that point of the World Series, I feel like it's just been a downward spiral. Like, Trey Turner slumped. He had the opportunity to win the MVP coming in his first season in Philly because Harper was out. Schwarber was playing, but still, like, he was the main guy on
this
team.
He was that 190 hitter. He was the home run, timely hitter. Turner could have been that guy. Get them hits. Make the plays in the field that they just weren't getting done.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I think it's great what they did with the standing ovation and was able to help him. But you're a professional. You need to man up and find a way to hit the ball. You've been in the MLB for so long. You were great with the Nationals. Main reason why we paid you because you were a great leadoff hitter. You can hit anywhere. You're a stealing machine. Like you can get from point A to point B like that. And it just seemed like ever since he's got here, he's just there's something with him that I can't explain, but like there's something off with him that like I don't know how to describe. But overall, like my final thoughts about all this is like I think Duran, that was a glimmer of hope for me when we got him. But then like you said, I like the Harrison Bader move. He's better. But there's one thing that I've been harping at for weeks, and at this point I'm just plain out frustrated. Get Justin Crawford the fuck up here. Get him the fuck up here. Because you got freaking Brandon Marsh. Dude looks like a caveman up there. He's holding it like he swings and misses at everything. The high pitches is his pitch. He loves swinging at them high 95-mile-an-hour fastballs that go right past him, and he's like, or he swings at the low ones. He's like, oh, I suck. And then Max Kepler. You're freaking running a platoon with those two guys who shouldn't even be major leaguers in my opinion. And then you're not even throwing like the postseason outfield should be as simple as this: Castellanos, Justin Crawford, Harrison Bader. Your center fielder and left fielder are insane athletes if that happens.
And they're both fast.
Exactly.
They can get to the ball.
And they can hit the ball better than these two idiots that are playing right now.
And they get timely hits.
Exactly.
It's all about timely hitting. They hit with runners in scoring position. They got to do it.
So that's my closing remarks on the Phillies. It's been an up and down roller coaster. I try to believe in this team, but then they just shoot you down. So I'm done believing in them until I see it. If they win a World Series, that's great, but I'm not changing my opinion. Like,
yes,
you know how it was with the Eagles. I was frustrated when we were 2-2, but I stayed in the middle. I didn't exceed expectations, and I also didn't say like they suck. Obviously, I said they should fire Nick Sirianni because I felt they weren't.
Everybody did.
Exactly. If you didn't say it, then you ain't a true Eagles fan, in my opinion. That's how I feel. And everyone said it, but then I still watched it. I still rewatch every week. But then as they got better, I'm like, yeah, this team found their identity. That's what it takes sometimes. Early in the season, they were banged up. A.J. Brown was out for a few games. Devontae Smith was out against that Tampa game. They hadn't found their identity yet. But then what? But the leaders, like we've been harping on, the leaders of this team, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, went to Sirianni and was like, yo, we need to start running the ball now. And they started running the ball, and you saw how well that got. Now it got Kellen Moore a head coaching job. That is for certain. I think that
is the main thing he got hired for.
Exactly. It helped this offense evolve into even more of a scary offense, and it let Jalen Hurts be that, like, he can be a game manager, but if you need him to make a play, we all saw what happened in the Super Bowl. We're going to have plenty of discussions about him because we obviously are both believers, but we see the critics, we see how they say. We'll have some talk. In the coming weeks with the NFL, we're going to have some good discussions about how we feel about these quarterbacks and how we feel about these teams. So that's in the road ahead. But main thing they did, they found their identity. And the Phillies, they don't even have that. And it's almost September, and they haven't found that. What does that tell you?
Almost playoff time.
That's my thoughts. So you got anything else closing or?
I mean, my final thoughts would just be the same as yours. You guys, it's pathetic. It's honestly pathetic. It is. Teams are starting to find their identity. Milwaukee found their identity. Dodgers are starting to find their identity. The Mets, if they sweep the Phillies tonight, they had now found their identity, and it can be close. So the Phillies, you got to step it up. Your leaders got to step up, and you guys got to figure out who is going to lead this team. Are you guys going to find your identity tonight, beat the Mets, ride this series against the Braves, and then win again against the Mets at home? Or are you going to lose tonight, lose the series in Atlanta, and then, better forbid you losing that series at home in Philly against the Mets? Because, oh my God, Zach, if they lose this series at home against the Mets, nothing will help them come back. And you could count your ass on it that they will not win in the playoffs, especially if they play the Mets. Because now you got swept in New York against them, and if you lose that series in Philly, there goes that home field advantage, and you're thinking about it, and your identity's gone.
Exactly.
So those are my closing statements. You just got to step up, and you got to be who you got to be, and you got to find your identity and win.
Exactly. At the end of the day, as of right now, these teams are better. The Dodgers, the way the Padres are playing, because that division is going to be insane. The Chicago Cubs, I know they've been up and down, but still, they seem to play better as of late. The Milwaukee Brewers. And if the Mets beat us, they might honestly be better than us at this point. And it's just not because we're playing in Citi Field.
Yeah, not even a stain. Like, the Mets aren't up there with those 4 teams, but they beat on paper, yeah, Phillies have a better standing, but Mets beat us tonight. Mets have one over on us. You're not beating the Mets later in the year. Like don't get me wrong, I love the Phillies. And that kills me to say because I hate the Mets. But you got to think, this is now repetition for the Mets. It was like us and the Braves when we were going on our 22 run or 23 run. We go in Atlanta, we beat you, we come back to Philly, you're out. Next year, we do it again. The Mets are basically doing that to us, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, you got anything else to say, or you pretty much covered what you want to say?
Pretty much covered what I wanted to say, Zach. Thanks for letting me talk.
Yeah. So, as you can see, this is just a preview of what's to come. This is just MLB. We have a whole bunch to talk about these other sports, especially as we get more information about and the NFL season. There's already so much to talk about there, so I'm really excited for that. And then, obviously what we're talking about now with how the Phillies are playing, we'll be keeping up with you guys down the stretch. But this is just a preview of what's ahead, and I'm really excited. I'm excited to have Joe on board and looking forward. Be excited because it's only going to get better from here. So this is going to wrap up this update and a news announcement video. Once again, I'd like to thank Joe for coming on and being on board for the future ahead. And like I said, for what's in store, just look out, man. It's going to get better from here. See you guys.
See you guys.